The soaps, our favorite daytime dramas. They take us a little bit away from reality. But sometimes they sprinkle in a little bit of their own. And their supernatural storylines are no different. The supernatural storylines are meant to take us a little farther away from reality. Or is it bringing us closer to it? Because I'm a believer of the supernatural. What about you?
No, Olivia!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Soap Sanctuary. Hey guys, it's DC and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary, where all soap lovers are welcome, guys. Guys, this is my top 5 supernatural soap opera storylines. Tell me, how'd you guys love the little intro and the new intro for the channel, by the way, also. I had a lot of fun making it, guys. I had a lot of fun. I wanted to get right into this. I wanted to do this video for a long time, but I just been busy, a lot of stuff going on, but I was okay, I finally got the time to finally make this video. I'm like, okay, let's just do this. Let's just do the damn thing, all right? So this is my top 5 supernatural soap opera storyline, guys. I want to just hop right into this list, guys, and just not waste no time. Coming in at number 5 for our top 5 supernatural soap opera storylines. This one in particular is not necessarily a storyline, but it's a character, as she was kind of part of the show. So it's about a 1,000-year-old witch who lived in a New England town called Harmony. Coming in at number 5, guys, is Tabitha Lennox on Passions. Take a look.
Jess! Please help me! I'm trapped in Tabitha's basement! Jess!
Indeed you are, Mr. Spike Man. I'll teach you to take advantage of a vulnerable young woman like Jessica. I should say the boys in the basement will teach you.
No! Who's down there? Who's down there? I can hear you down there! Leave me! Come on! Get away from me! Please, let me out! I didn't do nothing wrong!
So like I said before, guys, Tabitha was like a 1,000-year-old witch living in Harmony. She had her daughter Endora, who was her daughter with Julian Crane. And Endora had this thing where she would talk in bubbles all the time and stuff like that. It was completely weird. It was completely weird. The thing about it is that, you see, with Passions, there was something for everyone on that show. You had Tabitha, you had the whole romance with Chad and Vincent. There was something for the blackmailer. There was Ethan, Teresa. There was something for everyone on that show. The mind of the creator, James E. Riley, is just crazy. Honestly, Passions was so over the top and so daring as a soap that in 2004, the staff over at Day said, hey, come on over. We want you to write and help our show out. And they gave him carte blanche, which is French for white carte. But really what that means in French is pretty much do whatever you want. We're giving you free reign. And that's how we got the Salem Stalker storyline, where half the cast is killed off. Marlena, Bo, Abe, Jack. However, the writers got so scared that time. They're like, okay, like we got to rein this guy in. Like this is crazy. What is he doing? And so that's when they came up with the Melusine, the new Salem Island, where everyone was apparently still alive, and Tony DiMera had them held at an island or something. So they knew what they were doing at the time. But that guy, James E. Riley, his mind was just over the top, just amazing. Like I loved it. I loved it, honestly. I loved every bit of it. Now, before we hop into number 4, I definitely want to talk a little about my own supernatural beliefs, but I'll get to that later on in the video. Coming in at number 4, number 4 was a bit of a tie for me, guys. It's the first one I had a tie, so technically it's like 6 people on this list, but I kind of had a tie at number 4. One of these was not even going to even be on the countdown. I was like, no, they got to be, because I was there watching that storyline, and it was pretty damn good. Coming in at number 4, 4A, I should say, is when a lady from Bensonhurst was dating the ever-so-handsome Stephen Lars. However, his mother, she wasn't with it. So what did his mother do? She injected her with some LSD. But that wasn't the end of it. As a result, she ended up getting some psychic visions. Coming in at 4A is Olivia Falconeri, the Bensonhurst psychic. Take a look.
And I warned you. I warned you about her. I warned you.
No, Olivia, no!
You're done. Would you like to tell me about it?
It was just so real. Doc.
Olivia, when you look at me, okay, who do you think I am, Olivia?
This storyline to me was honestly one of the best storylines. This was when Ron Carlivati and Frank Valentini came on to General Hospital. I know people thought this was wacky, but I thought this was a very, very, very good storyline. With Olivia getting the psychic visions, it gave her something to do because honestly, she was just very judgmental at the time. Her character really had no other purpose at that particular time on campus. And honestly, if you ask me, I think this is some of Lisa Lucero, who is the actress who plays Olivia. This is some of her best work, in my opinion. This is really some of her best work. Olivia was able to foresee the water pathogen. She got to see Dr. Keenan and his true intentions. She was able to see that he really was the devil. Not literally the devil, but he had very evil intentions. And just like how Days revisited the possession storyline with Marlena, I hope that one day GH revisits the whole Olivia having psychic visions storyline. I hope they revisit this someday. Because honestly, I thought it was a pretty good storyline. And I think at that time, GH had a lot of supernatural storylines at that particular time. They even had Silas Clay, who was on, who was a brother of Stephen Clay from Port Charles of the Caleb and Livy whole saga, whatever. So to me, I thought that was pretty good. I was in love with that storyline, honestly. I loved it. Okay, now, coming in at 4B is a man, this storyline to me, oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. He transcended time to be reunited with the love of his life. So he came to town under the guise of the name as David Halliday, when his real name was Jordan Stark. And he found out that the long-lost love of his life, Amelie Kitterington, that's Kitteridge, I think it was, I'm saying it right, her soul was in the body of Amanda Corey. So now his goal was to make love to Amanda Corey to get the soul of Amelie to come out. Oh, this is so good. Guys, you just gotta take a look at this. This was good. This was good. This is like a reincarnation, past lives type of storyline. So coming in at 4B is Jordan Stark on Another World. Take a look.
When we finally meet, I want you to realize it isn't by accident. It's not a coincidence. I want you to appreciate how far I've traveled, how many years I've searched. Most of all, I want you to understand who you really are and who I am, because that will be the ultimate test. When you see me as I really am. But until then, you'll have to know me as David Halliday.
Hear me.
Then be still and listen. You've heard the stories. That I'm a lunatic who believes he's Jordan Stark, a man who lived 200 years ago. But the truth is, I am Jordan Stark. The only one. The very same man born in 1778.
That would make you over 200 years old.
221 this July, actually. But I date the real moment of my birth to the day I met Amelie. I loved her, which was no great miracle. She was beautiful. But she loved me, which was a miracle indeed, because she saw the person I was inside. We were married in secret. Her family would have none of this monster. And then her father, a tyrant, got wind of our betrothal. He took Amelie from my side. But physical separation was meaningless to us. We knew we could transcend it.
How?
We made a promise to meet back here in Amelie's garden, the very first place we fell in love. And from here, we traveled to another time, another place, another world. And then... See me. See only me.
Storyline to me was so great. I loved how they tried to tie it into a soap. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, honestly, like, a lot of soaps have done a lot of like supernatural storylines, but I always felt like they did it in a way that made it serious, unlike with Passions. Passions really made it campy a lot of the time. And I'm honestly kind of shocked this show was canceled from Passions now that I'm watching it. Like, I'm kind of shocked by that, honestly. As I'm finishing up Another World right now, I loved watching this show because I didn't know anything. I didn't know any of the past characters. It was like watching a new soap all over again. It was like getting to know new characters, new things. I didn't know nothing. There were no spoilers. So I really enjoyed it, honestly. I'm still shocked the show was canceled for Passions, honestly. Even though I love Passions, I'm kind of shocked. This was a good show. And I always go back and watch older soaps. Even right now, I'm currently watching Sunset Beach and Dark Shadows. And Sunset Beach is actually pretty good. I'm like, this is some good stuff. I'm even watching Santa Barbara, guys. Like, I go back and watch this stuff because I feel like when I do these countdowns, I want it to be more inclusive of the majority of the soaps that have been out there and not just the 10 that I happen to see on screen at the time. But this storyline was pretty good. And here's the thing. Even though Jordan Stark was really, really creepy, his intentions were noble. You know, this is a woman who accepted him back from 200 years ago when he was like because of his facial deformities. She really accepted him. And there was a love and acceptance he felt for that woman, and he really wanted her back. To me, he wasn't a villain. I'm sorry. And I know I have a soft spot for, like, empathizing with villains. We see that a lot on my channel. I know, and I'm working on it. But I don't feel like Jordan Stark was a villain. I feel like he had noble intentions. He went about a lot of these things the wrong way, but he had noble intentions. It's not like... I mean, you could probably say it was an obsession he had this woman, but I feel like he really loved her. He genuinely loved her, and he wanted her back. He missed her. And the girl's father tried to keep them apart. So it was a love story that I was here for. I'm going to be honest. I was here for the story. All right, now, coming in for number 3 for our top 5 supernatural soap opera storylines. This one, a lot of people said, was probably one of Guy Light's worst storylines. I watched it all last summer, and I thought this was amazing. Honestly, hands down, it was an amazing storyline, and it was supernatural. And it was crazy because at this time, human cloning was a huge conversation in the country at that time. You see, that's why I said we gotta reflect the times, man. We gotta reflect the times. But coming in at number 3 is Reva's clone on Guiding Light. Take a look.
Right here, Josh. Josh Lewis, I'd like you to meet Reva Shane.
What's going on here? Who are you and what do you want? What do I want? I want Annie Dutton behind bars. And if you cooperate with the police and tell them what you know, I will see to it that you don't do any time. If you're saying that this Annie had something to do with all of this, you're dead wrong. I don't even know Annie. Don't be a fool. Don't call me names. Okay. We can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. It can't be you. You can't be here now. Sorry to disappoint you, but I am. I am back, and it's over now. Reva? You got that right. So now you'd better start thinking about what you're going to do once you're out on the street.
Now, pretty much what happened with this storyline is that Josh had Dr. Michael Burke create this clone of Reva because he was mourning Reva at that time. She was presumed dead. You know, nobody ever really dies in soaps. And he created Reva first as a baby, and Reva was growing, and I think Dolly was the name of the clone. And then she took a rapid aging serum that killed her in the end because she wanted to just leave all as well as alone. This storyline was a little bit off when I watched it, but I honestly felt like it was done and hit out of the park and just done tastefully with all these actors and actresses. I really think it was done tastefully. I think it was done very well to the best of their ability, honestly, and I loved it. And I honestly have to say, I really loved the compassion that Josh and Reva showed Dolly towards the end. Sometimes it's good for soaps to do storylines like that because it takes them to a different level. It takes them to, like, it's something different to switch things up a little bit. And to say, oh, remember that time when so-and-so had a clone? You know, and I'm pretty sure someone who doesn't watch soaps was hearing you talk about this, like, soap operas are so ridiculous. But it was storylines like that that I actually liked. So even though Dolly was aging rapidly due to the serum, she wasn't aging rapidly mentally speaking. That's why you can see when she's talking to Reva, she goes, "Don't call me names." Which is, it was like adorable because you can tell she still has a childlike mind even though she is physically a grown woman. This storyline was pretty good. You know, and it's just, for me, I thought it was a good storyline. That's why it's on this list. Now, coming in at number 2. Oh, Lord, you can't talk about Supernatural without maybe a near-death experience, right? So now, Viki had gone to heaven twice. Once from back in the day, and then again in 2008. And I think both times were done amazingly well. Now, the first time was off the charts, for obvious reasons. Soaps had a budget. Anyways, guys, let's just hop right into it. Coming in at number 2 for our top 5 Supernatural soap opera storylines is Viki Goes to Heaven on One Life to Live. Take a look.
It sure is, hon.
Captain, this time you've gone too far. I never did anything on Earth to deserve this. Please, get her out of here.
Viki, you've done so well so far. Don't spoil it now.
Well, ain't this something? After everything she put me through, now she's acting like I did something to her. Like I'm not fit to be in the same little space with her.
You took over my life. You pretended to be me. You hurt my husband so terribly.
Come on. I was fighting for survival. That's what you're doing right now, right? This is so weird, Viki. I have never seen you like this. You're all kind of scared and nervous. The only Viki I ever knew was the hoity-toity one, the one who thought she was better than most people, and a lot better than me.
I am better than you.
How do you figure that? How did you figure that? Hey, kid, I'm a part of you, you know? I'm like your arm or something.
No, you're not. You're dead. You are no longer a part of me.
I don't know how to break this to you. I will forever and always be a part of your soul.
Now, this storyline was epic, and it's interesting because when One Life to Live was first created, its original title was supposed to be Between Heaven and Hell, which the producers and the staff on the show decided not to go with to avoid controversy. And to me, both times when she went to heaven, she was encountering her alter Nikki Smith. But I'm not gonna lie, the first time was a little more epic than the second time. I'm not gonna lie, because you know that's back when soaps had a budget. They had some money on the books. You know what I'm saying? They had some money in the books. That looked like straight up like some Star Trek type stuff from the first time around when she went to heaven. So you can't. In the second time, you can tell they had some white curtains in the background. Come on, it was a different time. You know what I mean? But and then on top of that, also I want to point out is that Agnes Nixon made a cameo. I don't think she's made a cameo on any of the other soaps that she created. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And also, I don't think I've ever seen a soap where a creator has made a cameo on it. Once again, I could be wrong. Correct me on that. I could be wrong. I just haven't seen that. So from what I know, I thought that was pretty awesome. And this happened right before One Life to Live went off the air. 2 years later, went off the air. So I just thought that was incredible that she was able to do that and to make that appearance. And even just to hear her say, you know, oh, everything old is becoming new again. Bo and Rex are in 1968, which that was another supernatural element they touched on One Life to Live, where they did that time travel. I do feel like One Life to Live had a way of writing supernatural storylines where it didn't come off campy, like the way Passions did. And of course, maybe that's just because by comparison, Passions just naturally comes off very campy, very like cartoonish when they did their supernatural storylines, where One Life to Live didn't. Coming in at number 1, here's my thing. You can't talk about supernatural soap opera storylines without talking about this soap. You just can't. In my opinion, you just can't. This soap right here, it crawled so Passions could run. Okay, that's what I would say. Okay, it crawled so Passions could run.
But this time, coming back as Stephen Clay, what have I really done to hurt anyone?
I mean, besides turning Allison's mother into a vampire.
She enjoyed every minute of it.
And you enjoy it even more.
Now we see that my number 1 is Port Charles, but I'm specifically highlighting a particular time in Port Charles, which was Time in a Bottle. During this Time in a Bottle storyline, Frank was chatting with an online pen pal who happened to be his girlfriend from some 20 some years ago, back when she was a teenager. And somehow he ended up getting trapped in the continuum of time. Coming in at number 1 for my top 5 supernatural soap opera storylines is Port Charles, Time in a Bottle. Take a look.
I have to save Karen from...
Where am I? What's happening to me?
Now keep in mind, this soap, what it did was, initially they were supposed to be a spinoff of General Hospital, where it was now really supposed to take place in the hospital. But the thing about it is, it didn't really stick. So they tried this new telenovela format, where they were going to do these supernatural storylines with 6-month arcs. And honestly, that was pretty creative for a soap. I think what really messed them up was that they were competing with The Young and the Restless. Not a soap you want to compete with for that 12:30 spot. It's just not for a newbie on the block. Nah, you know what I mean? That's like a rookie coming into the NBA roster competing with LeBron James. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean? But honestly, I thought this was like a pretty unique spin on a soap, honestly. I know lately from the Marlena Possession storyline, a lot of people said they don't feel like the supernatural should go in soaps. It makes it unrealistic. Which I'm going to be honest, in a lot of ways, I'm not necessarily sure some of these storylines are unrealistic. But with Port Charles' Time in a Bottle, it brought up a very important question. Are the things and the events of our past, no matter how tragic, necessary for the betterment of our lives? And we see this because there was a time in Port Charles' Time in a Bottle where Frank was trying to save, I think it was Karen's, I think it was her sister, I believe, from dying. But that was going to alter so much of the future. And when he did that, that did mess up a lot. It messed up so much when he did that. So it almost even shows you the power of the decisions that we even make now, how they really affect our future when you think about it. So I like that because it brought a lot of thought-provoking, it made me think. Like that was a question I had in my mind when I was watching Time in a Bottle. And the reason why I put Time in a Bottle as number 1 and not any of the other Port Charles storyline like Caleb and Livy's, because I wasn't really into the vampire thing. I did watch the other ones. I think right now I'm on Fate or Surrender. I can't remember which one I'm watching right now. Time in the Bottle was still it for me. I'm sorry. Time in the Bottle was, it was just unique. The vampire thing, I'm like, all right. And I know it's because of Twilight back then just killed it for me, but I was like, all right. But Time in a Bottle, that was a storyline for me right there. Because I remember that time when Frank was stuck in the continuum of time, it was like all white. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna get out of there. And once again, this is a show I had not seen prior, so everything is new to me. Even though there's obviously Scott and Lucy on there, so you can see those references from GH, but for the most part, everything is new. It's almost like it existed in its own universe. It really did connect with GH, it did. But it's still like in its own world, which I like that. Now guys, I am really truly a huge believer in supernatural. You know, growing up, I come from a Haitian family, and I would always hear the stories of stuff that happened back in Haiti. You know, my mom even told me once a story about how when her dad went out on the road, there was a donkey that came and spoke to him and said, hey, listen, like, someone turned me into a donkey. I've got to get back to my family that lives on the other side of town. And he ran. You know what I mean? And I know what you're thinking, like, I think your mom was just trying to scare you something. These are stories I hear a lot of Haitian people talk about. Someone turning into a cat or a donkey or something like that. And my thing is, this is gonna sound weird, guys. Just hear me out. Do I think it's so far-fetched that an animal can talk? No. Because parrots can talk. Parrots can legit talk words. So the fact that a bird can talk words, even they're mimicking something, that alone lets me think that there is a possibility that animals can talk. Okay? That lets me know there's a possibility on that, all right? Listen, I've heard a lot, like, that's not even the craziest story I've ever heard from back home. I do believe in the supernatural to some degree, guys. I do. I do believe in it to some degree. I don't want you guys to think I'm crazy, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe in the supernatural. I really do. I think those things do have their place. You know, I watch a lot of South African soap operas, and for them, that type of stuff is not fiction, it's not make-believe, it's culture, it's life. But for us as Americans, like, this is such make-believe, and it's all ghost, But honestly, I believe in it to some degree. That's what I said in the beginning of my video. I'm a believer in the supernatural. What about you? And I think I'll just leave that there, right? Now here's the thing. I know what you guys are thinking. Where is Marlena's possession, right? Here's the deal. When it comes to Marlena's possession, you definitely can't talk about supernatural storylines without talking about Marlena's possession. To be honest, Marlena's possession is #1 in its own way. It's like the grandfather of all these supernatural storylines in a way, because if we're gonna be honest, I don't think any of these other soap opera storylines, supernatural soap opera storylines, topped it in terms of cinematography, in terms of writing, in terms of development, in terms of just all of those things. You just can't. And to me, like, I'm a huge believer. I love these supernatural storylines because they take away from that regular mundane soapiness. We want ourselves to feel realistic, but to me, this feels a little realistic too. It's a little bit of reality sprinkled in it for me, honestly. All right, guys, I think that's just about it on this countdown. Tell me, guys, which one on this countdown was your favorite? And did I leave anybody out? Did you think I left out any storylines out? Which, I didn't probably leave anybody out, but these were the ones. There were so many to choose from. These were the ones I had to narrow it down for my top 5. And you see, #4, we had a tie, right? So that is my video for today, guys. Let me know if you guys had any supernatural stories of your own. Maybe they might involve a talking donkey. I don't know. But I believe my mom in that story. I do. In this weird way, I believe it. I believe that my grandfather really did believe that he heard a talking donkey. Now, whether that actually happened or not is another thing. Anyways, guys, that is my top 5 supernatural soap opera storyline, guys. And this is the Soap Sanctuary. I'm out, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Bye.